Opening day is upon us. It was a long wait, but we are here, fellas. Steve Buchanan, Garion Thorne, both from DraftKings. I am as well. And we are all taking a look at the DraftKings Sportsbook angle of things. Of course, some of the best bets heading into the new year. Steve, let's start with you here and your favorite bet in terms of team win total going into the season.
Yeah, I love taking the Nationals over 84.5. I feel like they had such an underrated offseason and people just don't want to give them the credit that I think they rightfully deserve. Grabbing Josh Bell, he's been crushing it in spring training. And I know you always got to take that with a grain of salt, but like Josh Bell is in a competent lineup for a change and he's surrounded by good hitters. So pitchers are going to have to attack Josh Bell, which quite frankly, over the past few years, they haven't really had to do before. And he's responded. He's crushing the ball in spring training. Now they have Kyle Schwarber as well. You put Bell and Schwarber together, you legitimately could get over 30 home runs from both players throughout the course of the season. And then you add in the mix that they have that unbelievable rotation with Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Patrick Corbin. Health is always an issue with those guys, so there is that. But if they're healthy, and then you put those two bats in the mix in a lineup that already was pretty impressive. Remember Juan Soto? Remember that guy? He's in the mix there too. That's a team that's going to make some noise. And in a division that, quite frankly, I think is wide open in the NL East, I think the Nationals can easily go over 84.5 wins.
All right, Garion, so Buke's high on the Nats. Where's your money going?
I'm going to stick in the National League and a division that is up for grabs, the NL Central. I like the Brewers to go over 82.5 wins. Kind of just hitching my wagon here to elite starting pitching, elite bullpen pitching, and hopefully Christian Yelich being any version except 2020 Christian Yelich, which I think we can all kind of bank on. But look, there's not a lot to like about any team in the NL Central. It's kind of a mess. Maybe aside from like the Cubs offense, I don't really know what you can rely on in that division. And I just think if everything breaks right for the Brewers in terms of Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns and Devin Williams and Josh Hader, just these elite strikeout pitchers who can dominate opponents, if that all works out, they're going to be in really good shape because they're a team that knows what they are. They're not going to be a top 10 offense. We know that, but they could be the best defensive team in baseball. And as we've seen with like the Tampa Bay Rays, that's something that kind of gets overlooked from time to time when we talk about these win totals. I was ready to call them one of the best defensive teams in baseball like 5 weeks ago when we did our NL Central preview. And then 3 days later, they signed Jackie Bradley Jr. to play center field, somehow getting better at defense. So run prevention is the name of the game with the Brewers. I think they're going to do it well. I like them plus 300 on the DKSB to win the NL Central. You can kind of hedge it a little bit here at minus 125 to have them go over 82.5 wins.
Gary, do you have a favorite player award bet going into the year?
I do. Another one we talked about in our past previews, but Tyler Glasnow plus 950 to win the American League Cy Young. I just think it's really good value. I honestly think there's only like 5 guys in the American League who can possibly win the Cy Young if everyone stays healthy. It's not like the NL in the sense where you've got like Clayton Kershaw at 25-1 because there's so many good pitchers literally in just the Padres and Dodgers rotation alone. On those two teams, there are guys more likely to win the NL Cy Young than the entirety of the American League. So really, you've got like a 1 in 5 chance already that someone like Glasnow can put together a good season, stay healthy, throw 200 innings. And I think everything around this is there. He's a strikeout pitcher. He's a guy who could rack up a bunch of wins playing for a good team with a good defense and, most importantly, a good bullpen. If he leaves the game with the lead, he's probably going to get the win, which is really, really nice. Someone like, Jacob deGrom could tell you what a luxury that kind of bullpen is. And on top of that, the narrative's there. Like, these are still narrative-based awards at the end of the day. And if you look at the Rays, if they even get to the wild card game, if they win 90 games and fall short of the 101 win Yankees, people are going to look at Glasnow and say, wow, they lost Snell, they lost Morton, and they still had one of the best rotations in the American League. And I think that matters too. So I just think this is a guy who has so much potential, and this is the year it's going to all come together.
What about you, Bukes? You looking Cy Young as well or going somewhere else?
No, I'm going to Rookie of the Year, and the odds on this guy has shifted immensely since the beginning of the week. We heard that Eloy Jimenez is going to be missing maybe 3 up to 5 months with that shoulder injury that he unfortunately did during a spring training game. So Andrew Vaughn is looking like he's going to be the starting left fielder for the White Sox. And the advantage that he has over some of these other guys that are in contention is that he's going to start the year with his team. Guys like Jared Kelenic, Wander Franco, they're not going to be there at the jump. So Andrew Vaughn already has the advantage on some of these guys. And there's a reason why he was one of the top draft picks. He has unbelievable power. Just go and watch some spring training videos of this guy. He's got a beautiful swing. The whole White Sox outfield, by the way, has beautiful swing. So if there's anything for that, they're all beauties. But Andrew Vaughn is a special player. He has that 30-plus home run power. He's a huge defensive guy. Like, this is someone who could run away with this award. The boat is leaving the dock, 11-1. This might be the best odds that you're going to get. So I would grab that now because, like I said, he's got the advantage over some of these other guys because he is starting the season with his team.
Bukes, you can also go to a season leaders category. You can make a bet on who's going to lead the league in homers, RBI, strikeouts. I mean, you name it pretty much. There are a ton of different options. Which one stands out to you?
Yeah, Yordan Alvarez to lead the American League in home runs at 20-1. I mean, how do you not make a play on that? Let's just go back to 2019 when his rookie year, because obviously 2020 was a lost cause. He played 87 games and hit 27 home runs. He basically averaged a home run a series when he was up playing in the major leagues. This dude has unbelievable power. So for him, a guy of that caliber that can hit home runs like that, and this has gone through the minors too. It wasn't like a flash in the pan. This is somebody who's consistently shown power. But for somebody to get that type of power and to be 20-1 to lead the American League in home runs, there are some tough guys that he has to, jump. Mike Trout, Joey Gallo, some of the names there. But Alvarez has shown, at least at a major league level, that he can still hit for power. So at 20-1 odds, man, those are really tough ones to pass up.
Gary, do you have a favorite season leaders bet?
Very similar to Steve, so I won't dwell on it too long. I had just Alvarez and Giancarlo Stanton at 20-1 each kind of circled. I think you bet both those guys. You hope one stays healthy and gets to like 650, 700 plate appearances. And considering, if you want to just go baseline stats with the amount of home runs per at bat they've hit the last couple seasons, if you want to go advanced stats with like max exit velocity, hard contact rate, things of that nature, they just shine above everyone else. And if they can stay healthy, that's the only caveat. And you kind of hope that one of the two will. Aside from that, I also like Fernando Tatis Jr. at 22-1 to lead the league in hits. I really don't think it's that far-fetched that someone who had the 93rd percentile expected batting average last season to go along with all of his amazing contact stats is going to finish the year with the most hits. Yes, he'll take a walk, which, for the purposes of this is not great, but he's also going to bat leadoff for the Padres, a lineup that could turn over more than any other lineup in baseball. He might honestly get to like 730 plate appearances if he plays 150, 155 games this season. And at that point, it's just a volume thing. It's just counting up the opportunities. So I think that's some really good value for Tatis.
Gary, and the championship favorite, unsurprisingly, the Dodgers, plus 350 odds on the DraftKings Sportsbook. But I'm not going to presume that's where you would put your money in terms of making the bet. Where would you invest?
So I do think the Dodgers are probably justified in being the heavy favorite to win the World Series. I think their rotation is just unmatched aside from that of the Padres, but we obviously don't want to bet them at plus 350, especially considering, they could have to play in an NL wildcard game. I think they'd win it, but that's not something you want in the range of outcomes for an overwhelming favorite you're betting. So when I look at some of these deeper odds, the one that really stands out to me is the Houston Astros at plus 2,200. Why is this team 22-1 to win the World Series? They're going to win their division. I'm going to say that right now. Athletics aren't going to win this thing. They have regressed from last season. The Mariners are still like a year or two away from actually winning the division. The Rangers suck. The Angels are always underwhelming. Like when Mike Trout wins a division title or someone around Mike Trout helps him win a division title, it'll be a first. So the Astros are going to be in the playoffs. And once you've cleared that hurdle, and once you've kind of gotten to the range where they're not going to have to play in a wild card game, 22-1 seems crazy.
Steve, who's your pick to win it all?
I'll tell you, the Astros are not winning. So, I mean, that's going to be a problem for Garion because when the Mariners steal that division, it's going to be looking real silly over there because that division stinks. The whole division stinks. Anyways, you don't want to bet the Dodgers. Are the Dodgers the favorite? Yes, of course they should be the favorite. Look at that team. It's stacked from top to bottom. But there's also another team that's stacked from top to bottom, and they're 8-1, and they're in the same division. And they're called the San Diego Padres. And quite frankly, you put them side to side, I kind of lean the Padres rotation over the Dodgers because Trevor Bauer is not going to be the same guy you saw last year. I'm just saying that now. He had a cupcake schedule last year. All he did was face teams under 500. So let's see how he transitions to the NL West. Nothing against the player, but that's the schedule he was handed last year. So I like the Padres at 8-1 because any other division that the Padres are in, they're not just the favorites, they're massive favorites. It wouldn't even be close. But unfortunately for them, they're in the NL West with another powerhouse with the Dodgers. If you want to look at longer odds, I'm going to go back to it. The Nationals are 33-1. They have the makeup of everything. Nobody wants to give this team credit yet. They have the hitting, they have the pitching, and they have a decent bullpen. And in an NL East that I think, like I mentioned, is up for grabs. All you have to do is make the playoffs, and then it's all bets are off from there. So at 33-1 for a team that feels pretty complete to me, not the caliber as the other teams like the Dodgers and Padres, but the Nationals should definitely be in that conversation. So 33-1, that's my favorite long shot. And the Mariners is not bad too, if you're feeling froggy.
Baseball's here. Should be fun. Looking forward to it. Steve Buchanan, Garion Thorne. I'm Adam Kaufman. Thanks for watching.